Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, humans of all ages, welcome to the Pastor Rapture Show. I am, without a shadow of a doubt, your Pastor Rapture. My pronoun remains human, male. And as you can see, we're going to jump straight on in to the news. We were going to try to put my picture up for a little bit, but having camera issues, technical difficulties, but we'll tell you all about it at the end of the show. But for now, let's get to reading some stuff here. From 1840.com. House Speaker standstill. Judiciary Committee Chair Jim Jordan fell short yesterday in securing enough votes on the first ballot to become the Speaker of the House. He won 200 votes in the first round of voting, short of the 217 needed to take the gavel. Jordan was nominated last week after House Majority Leader Steve Scalise withdrew from the race. Jordan, the founding chairman of the House Freedom Caucus and backed by former President Donald Trump, will face another vote today at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. In the first round, 20 Republicans voted for a different candidate, including Scalise, who received 7 votes, and Representative Kevin McCarthy, who received 6. Both Scalise and McCarthy voted for Jordan. All 212 Democrats voted for House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries. It's the second time in the 118th Congress of which the House is struggling to select a speaker, following the historic 15 ballots it took for McCarthy to become speaker in January. The House has been leaderless for 2 weeks since McCarthy was ousted. Gaza hospital blast. At least 500 people died yesterday after an explosion from an airstrike that struck a hospital in Gaza City, according to Gaza Hamas-run health ministry. Hamas claimed it was an Israeli airstrike, while Israeli military said it was not involved in the incident, claiming the blast was from a misfired rocket from a militant group in Gaza known as Palestine Islamic Jihad. And we're going to cut this article off right here now because it has already been confirmed that Israel was not involved in the rocket strike or in the air bombing or whatever it was. It was a misfire from inside of Palestine that landed near the hospital. So with that out of the way, that misinformation being straightened up, it was not Israel. It was terrorists inside of Palestine. More semiconductor restrictions. U.S. officials announced new restrictions on semiconductor exports to China yesterday, the Biden administration's latest strategic attempt at slowing China's advanced chip-making capacity. Leading American chip makers NVIDIA and Intel, which view China as a major source of growth, saw their shares drop over the news. China currently leads the world in construction of new semiconductor factories as it looks to dominate the global market for older basic chips, which are present in nearly every consumer electronic product, from smartphones to laundry machines. The Biden administration views advanced chips, those with transistor lines smaller than 7 nanometers, 10,000 times smaller than a human hair, as so-called force multipliers, a foundational technology key to development in artificial intelligence, weapon systems, and quantum computing. The latest rules expand previous restrictions by increasing security of gray zone chips designed to circumvent the ban, as well as prohibiting exports to China via third parties or subsidiaries. Watch how microchips are made here. And it was a commercial. Sports, entertainment, and culture. New Mexico prosecutors to bring involuntary manslaughter charges against Alec Baldwin before a grand jury in the 2021 Rush shooting case. And I've given y'all my opinion on that. The dude's guilty of murder. You don't point a firearm at somebody and intentionally pull the trigger unless you're looking to destroy that person. Not to mention, we can drop into the mix one more time. How in the hell did a live round get dropped into a prop gun? That should have been a physical impossibility for it to do that. So, what exact freaking firearms were they using? Because they sure as hell weren't using proper prop firearms. Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes, and Rory McIlroy are among a group of investors purchasing 24% stake, costing $211 million in Alpine Formula One racing team. Britney Spears reveals in upcoming memoir she had an abortion after getting pregnant with Justin Timberlake's child. Did he know that? And did he get a say in it? Science and technology. Study confirms the largest Marsquake measured to date, ruling out a meteor impact is the cause of the seismic activity equivalent to a 4.7 magnitude earthquake. Tremors reverberated for 6 hours. Common dietary supplement found to reverse declining fertility rates in mice. The molecule spermidine has previously been found to increase lifespan in yeast and worms. Neuroscientists discover brain circuitry that responds to the texture of fatty foods, drives the urge to consume high-fat substances. From our partners, 2 is better than 1. A team of top German engineers has unveiled the world's first hearing aids with dual processing, which means twice the power and clarity. They're called horizonbyhear.com, and hundreds of thousands have already been tried. Tiny but powerful devices, virtually invisible, Bluetooth enabled, and backed by audiologists everywhere. They snuck a fucking commercial in there. Fuck you. Business and markets. U.S. stock markets closed mixed. S&P 500 down 0.01%. The Dow plus 0.04%. NASDAQ down 0.3%. As September U.S. retail sales rose more than expected to 0.07% over August. Starts getting cold in parts of the country. People have to go out and buy whatever they need for the winter that they didn't go out and purchase last year, or they threw away sometime over the summer because it was already old, or it got destroyed, or whatever. Wyndham Hotels and Resorts rejects unsolicited $8 billion takeover from Choice Hotels International, following breakdown in negotiations. Biotechnology giant Thermo Fisher Scientific to acquire Swedish company Oldlink for $3.1 billion. Goldman Sachs beats revenue and earnings expectations, but sees profits drop 33% from a year earlier as it pulls back from consumer lending. Oh my. Politics and world affairs. Ukraine strikes Russian military depot. Other sites using U.S.-supplied long-range missiles. Marks the first known use of the munitions. Russian President Vladimir Putin meets with Chinese President Xi Jinping in China as part of the Belt and Road Initiative Forum. And you notice, U.S. media no longer covering the war in Ukraine, even though the dictatorship is trying to currently send them another $100 billion. No more money for Ukraine, no more foreign aid, period. India's Supreme Court declines to recognize same-sex marriage, ruling recognition of legal rights must be implemented via the country's parliament. Belgian police shoot and kill man believed to have shot 3 people, killing 2 hours earlier. Officials call initial attack domestic terrorism. Say suspect cited the Quran in an online video after the killings. Oh my. We must go check this one. AP. All right, let's see what they actually said, if this is the AP. Authorities in the Belgian capital shot and killed a Tunisian national on Tuesday, hours after they say he gunned down 3 Swedish soccer fans, killing 2 of them, and posting a video online in which he claimed credit for the attack and said the Quran was a red line for which he is ready to sacrifice himself. Oh my. Excuse me. Need a drink here. That is quite interesting that is the AP reporting an act of radical Islamic terrorism. Here you go. See it for yourself, folks, on a live stream. And I'm actually sharing links and stuff, articles. I don't know if it would actually play through. It'll play the video. I don't know if it'll play the audio. But we're not going to do that because we're going to try it somewhere else. But anyway. Oh my. So the AP, make that a freaking headline. AP reports our act of radical Islamic terrorism. Oh my. So how GM is securing its lithium supply. Is this a commercial? Yes, it is a commercial. The world's 40 coolest neighborhoods. Al Jane Austen gets overrun by spam bots. Dissecting of covers of modern romance novels. Could the graffiti artist known as Banksy be revealed? Who gives a shit? Seriously, somebody pays millions of dollars for a piece of graffiti because it's some fool's name on it. I mean, how the hell did this guy get popular? Seriously, how do I get this shit? How do I throw together a random piece of art? And I'm a really bad fucking, graphic artist. How do I throw something like that together and have some fool come along and be like, hey, I'd like to pay you several $1 million for that. Yeah, that'd be great. I'd really enjoy that. How do you make that happen? All right. Construction crews find 19th century shipwreck in Florida. Let's see. A road project in downtown St. Augustine last week when they found something unusual. They discovered a nearly intact wooden vessel. We believe the vessel to be a small, single-masted, shallow draft sailing craft of the 19th century that was likely used to extract fish and shellfish from coastal waterways and directly offshore. Neato. And a British World War II warship is seen again after 80 years. And that's it. One tiny little frickin' frack of a damn image that I can't even blow up. Well, there you go. So a new multi-beam survey of the wreck of the destroyer HMS Keith, showing displaced hull section. Yeah, it got the shit blown out of it, didn't it? Wish I could blow that up. That would be kind of cool. Vote on which forgotten toy gets a place in the National Toy Hall of Fame. These 5 toys are regular finalists for Hall of Fame honors. Now fans can vote one in. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and call bullshit on that. They'll take the fan vote and they'll put in whichever one the committee wants to put in. Wow. I had one of those. I had an original Generation 1 Optimus Prime Transformer that I got for my birthday or Christmas or something like that. But yeah, had one of those. We see it real quick? Which ones it is? The 5. Nope. Fisher Price Corn Popper, My Little Pony Mini Horses, the Pez dispenser, the Pogo Stick, Hasbro's shape-shifting Transformer action figures have been in the finals more than once. After inspiring comic books, cartoons, and a continuing series of live-action blockbuster films by Jar Jar Abrams. 2 have made more than $1 billion each. There we go. Get the frog out of the throat there, finally. A 1981 DeLorean time capsule found. Flux capacitor, not included. Nope. USA Today. DeLorean was less than 1,000 miles, found in a Wisconsin barn. But as we've been watching someone else on the internet restore one of these, oh yeah, that's going to be a hell of a project, especially if it's been sitting in a barn for that long. You see the gas tank door right here. Yeah, this is a Gen 1. I know this from watching shit on the internet. But yeah, that's going to be a massive restoration project. And after watching somebody do a restore on them, it'd be like, yeah, I'm glad I never owned one. Underpowered, over-engineered, just crazy, crazy design. Fiberglass, sort of a fiberglass floorboards and partial the body on a stand. These just stainless steel and just, yeah, stupid stuff. DeLoreans have vintage feel but drive like a modern car. You put some millennial in there, or even a Centurion, a new Centurion child in this thing, and they wouldn't be able to drive it. They'd look at the size of it and be like, "Oh, that's massive! Look at the size of the steering wheel." All right, so enough of the DeLorean. History book Moby Dick is first published in 1851. The U.S. purchases Alaska from Russia. 1867, Thomas Edison dies. 1931, astronauts Jessica Meir and Christina Koch conduct first all-female spacewalk. 2019, former Secretary of State Colin Powell dies. 2021. Always do your very best, even when no one else is looking. You always are. Don't disappoint yourself. Yep, I'm sure this new generation could care less about that. Disappoint themselves consistently. All right, but so we've made it this far. Still no viewers, but, you know, I didn't tell anybody I was doing this. And it'll feed over the Rumble eventually. Or maybe somebody will figure it out of, you know, the 10 people that I have subscribed to my channel. Or is it 11? I don't remember. But let's get into something a little spicier. See what YouTube's algorithm thinks about it, if it's even bother listening to me. Because this is just some more of the dictatorial bullshit. Biden admin orders banks not to reject illegal immigrants' loan applications. Now, you're an illegal immigrant, which means that technically, by the laws, the federal laws, you're a federal criminal because you are a criminal trespasser in the United States of America. You are not a citizen of this country. I don't know why anyone would want to offer you bank loans. You're a criminal right from the get-go. But the dictatorship ordering banks not to... Seriously, if you, as a normal, everyday type of person, you know, somebody came up to you on the street and said, hey, Let me borrow $10,000 from you. I promise you I'll pay you back. Well, who are you? Well, my name really doesn't matter. But I promise you, if you loan me $10,000, I'll pay you back. Well, I don't know your name. I don't know where you live. I don't know if you have a job. I don't know who you are. You're a complete stranger to me. None of that matters. I promise you, if you give me $10,000, I'll pay you back, and in a timely manner, with interest is on top of it. Would you, as a normal, everyday human type of person, fall for that bullshit? No, I didn't think you would. Yeah, I didn't think you would. So, why does the dictatorship think that it can tell banks, especially private banks, that they have to do this? Oh, because of the FDIC. Because the feds control the insurance for the banks, so that if a bank is robbed or somehow the accounts are stolen via cyber warfare, well, the accounts are insured up to a certain amount. Well, if you don't do what the Fed tells you to do, if you don't do what Big Brother tells you to do, we're going to cut your insurance off. And this is why we see almost every single credit card in America has a fucking RFID chip, because the government mandated it. And when the credit card companies said, no, that's a waste of resources, not to mention it's a security problem, the government said, well, we'll just cut your insurance off, or we'll cut your funding off, or they'll do something to cost the company money. Basically, they extorted the companies, blackmailed them. The U.S. government. And this was even before the Biden dictatorship. I want to say that was under Obama, but it could have been under Trump from Obama, or I don't know. But any which way you look at it, all of your damn credit cards have RFID chips in them. Now, they talk about the world has a freaking microchip shortage. Well, gee, I wonder why. We wasted all of these microchips putting them on credit cards for no reason. Credit cards, debit cards, borrowed cards, whatever, business cards. They're all over the place. And for what purpose? Just makes it easier to steal from you. So, what do you think of this bullshit? Do you think that it's okay for the Fed to dictate to a bank to provide loans to known criminals? Does that make any sense to you? Or is that just like a really great way of, destroying the banking system? By creating more inflation from having to create new money from all of these loans that aren't being paid back by criminals. All right. Before we get into super, super spicy stuff that we know that YouTube is not going to like, let's go back and look at some of these other stories here. Let's look at the Mars quake. No. Anyway. Source of largest ever quake on Mars. Team of scientists led by University of Oxford have announced the results of an unprecedented collaboration to search for the source of the largest ever seismic event ever recorded on Mars. The study rules out a meteorite impact, suggesting instead that the quake was a result of enormous tectonic forces within Mars' crust. The results have been published today in the journal Geophysical Research Letters. The quake, which had a magnitude of 4.7 and caused vibrations to reverberate through the planet for at least 6 hours, was recorded in NASA's InSight lander on Wednesday, May 4th, 2022. Because its seismic signal was similar to previous quakes, known to be caused by a meteoroid impact, the team believed that this event, dubbed S1222 Alpha, might have been caused by an impact as well, and launched an international search for a fresh crater. Although Mars is smaller than Earth, it has a similar land surface area, and because it has no oceans. In order to survey this huge amount of ground, 1.44 billion square kilometers, study lead Dr. Benjamin Fernando from University of Oxford Department of Physics sought contributions from the European Space Agency, the Chinese National Space Agency, and the Indian Space Research Organization, and the United Arab Emirates Space Agency. This is thought to be the first time that all missions in orbit around Mars have collaborated on a single project. During its time on Mars, InSight, which was co-designed by the University of Oxford, recorded at least 8 Mars quakes events caused by meteoroid impacts. The largest of the two, these formed craters around 150 meters in diameter. The event S1222 Alpha event formed was by an impact. The crater would be expected to be at least 300 meters in diameter. Each group examined data from their satellites orbiting Mars to look for a new crater or any other telltale signature of an impact. Dust cloud appearing in the hours after the quake. After several months of searching, the team announced today that no fresh crater was found. They concluded that the event was instead caused by the release of enormous tectonic forces within Mars' interior. This indicates the planet is much more seismically active than previously thought. Dr. Fernando said, "We still think that Mars doesn't have any active plate tectonics today, so this event was likely caused by the release of stress within Mars' crust. The stresses are the result of billions of years of evolution, including the cooling and shrinking of different parts of the planet at different rates. We still do not fully understand why some parts of the planet seem to have higher stresses than others, but results like these help us to investigate further. One day, this information may help us to understand where it would be safe for humans to live on Mars, and where you might want to avoid." Good enough for the government work. They figured it out. Yay. Ooh, fatty foods are addictive. Milkshake neuroscience, how the brain nudges us towards fatty foods. Brain imaging shows how high-fat foods exert their powerful pull. Rich, high-fat foods such as ice cream are loved for not only their taste, but also for their physical sensations they produce in the mouth. Their mouthfeel. Now scientists have identified a brain area that both responds to the smooth texture of fatty foods and uses that information to rate the morsel's allure, guiding towards eating behavior. These findings, published on 16th October in the Journal of Neuroscience, added a new dimension of the eating experience to scientists' understanding of what motivates people to choose certain foods. Says Ivan Aurelio, a neuroscientist at the Max Planck Institute for Biological Cybernetics in Tübingen, Germany, who was not involved in the study. A tongue for textures, to explore how food textures influence eating habits. Fabian Grabenhorst, a neuroscience at the University of Oxford, UK, and his colleagues set out to quantify mouthfeel of fatty foods. The authors prepared several milkshakes with varying fat and sugar contents and placed a sample of each between 2 pigs' tongues procured from a local butcher. The research then slid the tongues across each other and measured the amount of friction between the 2 surfaces, providing a numerical index of each shake's smoothness. Fucking what? You put the milkshake on the 2 tongues and took the tongues and slid them across each other, the dead tongues, the dead pig tongues, to measure the amount of friction between the two. You couldn't have come up with something better than a pig tongue. Okay. The researchers then gave 22 participants milkshakes with the same compositions as those tested on the pig tongues. After tasting each milkshake, participants placed bids on how much they would spend to drink a full glass of it after the experiment. It's science, sorta. It's science because they're writing it down. They're not just screwing around. Oh man, I got totally lost in that shit. Oh man. Oh man. Okay, here we go. Let's get back into the war. Ukraine uses U.S. supplied ATACMS at a CMS. ATACMS? U.S. supplied ATACMS for the first time, says Zelensky. The Nazi fucker that he is. Well, he might be a Nazi fucker, but he is a Nazi. I don't know who he's fucking. Probably a Nazi. Ukraine has used U.S.-supplied long-range missiles for the first time, President Volodymyr Zelensky has said. His comments follow reports that the weapons known as ATACMS destroyed 9 helicopters at Russian bases in the east of the country. Ukraine has not confirmed these missiles were used. Ukraine said an air defense system and other equipment were among the targets hit in Berdyansk and Luhansk. Or blah, blah, blah. They have performed very accurately. The ATACMS have proven themselves. Zelensky said, and even Mr. Zelensky, not President Zelensky, Mr. Zelensky, said in an evening address posted on social media without giving details of when and where they were used. Russia's military has not commented. The Biden administration had previously refused to provide ATACMS to Ukraine, but it decided in recent weeks to send them quietly. The U.S. media outlet CNN reported, quoting 2 U.S. officials. It is said that Washington wanted to take Moscow by surprise in case Russia moved equipment and weapons out of reach before the projectiles could be used. Because of concerns about tensions with Russia, the missiles provided to Ukraine have lower range than the maximum the system is capable of, according to the Associated Press. And how do they go about doing that? Do they take out that amount of fuel? Or do they just put in some line of code of which you go in and find that line of code and be like, delete, 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 delete. And all of a sudden the damn missiles are back up to full range. Because I seriously doubt they're taking fuel out of them. Or they're specially producing missiles that have a limited amount of fuel in them. They just expect us to be so fucking stupid. They do. Damn, the propaganda, fourth branch of government, mainstream social media, they expect us to be just so damn stupid. Cluster munitions are controversial and are banned in more than 100 states due to their threat to civilians. 100 states, 100 countries. 100 countries, not states, because, well, they're banned here in the United States, so that's 50 states right there. No, 100 countries have banned the use of cluster munitions. Yet, here, we got a surplus of them. Let's just give them to Ukraine. Let Ukraine use them. And for, the next, I don't know, 30, 40, 50, 60 years, people are going to end up getting blown up from frickin' random mines that they wander across. The cluster bomb submunitions, they're mines. They're freaking landmines. So, don't tell me you care about the fucking children when it's all about the safety and security of the children when you're putting landmines out for the children to find and blow themselves up with. Oh, it's been so dry with the temperature falling off. Oh, just get so dehydrated. Alrighty. I mean, do we need to read any more about the attackums? Because this is just more ridiculousness. Let's send them another $100 billion in aid and support. Man, $100 billion. I mean, I could rebuild all the infrastructure of this state that I live in. That would replace every road, every rail line, every every mass transit. I mean, everything. It would replace everything, every bridge, every road, even all the gravel ones. The gravel ones, you could cement them damn things. The whole state would have cemented roads, and because cement roads last, 10 times longer than these shit asphalt roads they put down, the roads are going to be good in Missouri for the next 20, 25, 30 years. And then some. I mean, you rebuild most of the schools. You got a school that was built last century. Yeah, rebuild that son of a bitch. Brand new, top of the line. And all new schools are required to be built with rifle ranges because we're bringing the shooting sports back into schools in Missouri. Yes, we are. Hey, I've got a watcher. Thanks for watching me. I don't have the technical capability of actually looking at comments right now. I'm having enough issues as it is with utilizing this program. So we're gonna bring this one down for right now because there we go. Before we do something foolish here. Yeah, definitely want to see what I'm looking at before I do anything here. Hey, I got 2 watching now. Hey, that's pretty cool. I'm one of them anyway. But now we end up losing the feeds because we're busy playing around with that. All right, we can go back to looking at the screen here. Yeah, there we go. All right. And one person that's looking at me, thank you very much. I do appreciate that. Go ahead and hit that thumbs up button for me, por favor. And we're going to actually finish up the night with something a little spicy. The FDA finds safety signal for COVID-19 vaccination amongst toddlers. I thought there was a whole bunch of doctors' reports that already came out that said we don't need to be vaccinating at that age because the infection rate for that particular age group was well under 0.1%. But we went ahead and did it anyway. Let's see if you can hear this. Can't hear it. Didn't think it could. All right. That was a test that indicates that I need to get another program to be able to route my audio, because I'm not having a lot of luck with it trying to utilize the free programs. They don't want to frickin' bend my audio around the way that I want it bent around. Feed here, feed there, go here, go around here. Yes. A safety signal of seizures for young children following COVID-19 vaccination has been detected by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. Seizures, convulsions met the statistical threshold for a signal in children aged 2 to 4 following receipt of a Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine, and children aged 2 to 5 following receipt of a Moderna COVID-19 vaccine. Researchers within the FDA and 3 large healthcare companies said in a new preprint study. A safety signal is a sign that a health condition may be caused by a vaccination, but further research is required to verify the link. The data came from 3 health claim databases run by Optum, Carelon Research, and CVS Health, supplemented with vaccination information from state and local systems. Health claims databases are part of the FDA's Biologic Effectiveness and Safety System, a drug safety monitoring system. Researchers looked at 15 health conditions following the vaccination entered in the commercial database and compared rates among aged children 6 months to 17 years old to background rates from 2019, 20, or both. Overall, 72 cases of seizures, convulsions were recorded within 7 days of a shot amongst toddlers and other young children. Most happened within 3 days of a shot. When stratifying the data by dose, researchers found signals for dose 1 and dose 2 for Pfizer's shot in 2 of the 3 databases in children aged 2 to 4. They also found a signal following dose 2 of Moderna's shot in children aged 2 to 5. The signal for seizure convulsions in young children has not been previously reported for this age group in active surveillance studies of mRNA COVID vaccines, the researchers said, referring to the Pfizer and Moderna shots. There are reports of seizures, convulsions after COVID-19 vaccinations among children in the Vaccine Adverse Events Reporting System, of which they are no longer supporting. That's gone. So your VAERS system, Vaccine Adverse Event Reporting System, isn't there anymore, and all the data's gone. Researchers noted, and I would know that because the wife tracked very closely on that, and it was because it was about to breach a threshold of the number of people that had been affected by the vaccines that would have shown that their data saying that the vaccines are safe and effective is BS. The reports of seizures and convulsions after COVID-19 vaccination among children in the vaccine, although anybody can lodge reports within the system, most are made by healthcare professionals. After 5 convulsions were reported after Pfizer vaccination in Pfizer's clinical trial. Finally getting around to clinical trials. The research did not cover the bivalent COVID-19 vaccines, which were introduced for some populations in 2022 and completely replaced old vaccines in April, or the newest version, which the vaccines that were rolled out in September. It's not clear when the signal was first detected. The FDA and Patricia Lloyd, an FDA statistician who is the study's corresponding author, did not respond to requests for comments. Pfizer and Moderna did not return inquiries. Gee, I wonder why. It was a hoax, and it was a farce. And hell, we're getting kicked off of YouTube right at now as it is, so might as well go a little bit further. Oklahoma ban on sex changes for minors upheld by federal district court. Judge has rules that the state law banning procedures on therapies for children under 18 does not violate parents' constitutional rights. And there it is right there, folks. Children are not making these decisions. They're not making the decision to go on to hormones. They're not making the decision to cut on themselves. They're not making decisions that are going to radically affect their lives forever. It's the parents that are making the decisions. So very clearly, to protect children, you have to file yet more laws that state that children, persons under the age of 18 or other different conditions, are not allowed to make decisions that radically affect their lives. They're not allowed to sign contracts. They're not allowed to operate vehicles. They're not allowed to get tattoos. They're not allowed to consume alcohol or smoke or utilize tobacco. Children are not allowed to do a lot of things. And why is that? Because children are dumb. Children don't have a lot of laps around the sun. Maybe a lot of laps around the neighborhood, but not a lot of laps around the sun. So therefore, you don't have a lot of wisdom. You don't have a lot of knowledge. And you're depending on your parents to protect you from really bad decisions. Choosing to go on to puberty blockers is a bad decision because you have no idea what you actually want to be in your life. You're 10, 11, 12 years old. You have no clue who you actually want to be because that changes from day to day. But now we're going to go and do something to you that you can't take back. You're a young woman who has a radical mastectomy. You can't wash that off with Ajax and automatically you have breasts again. No, sorry, those are gone. And if you do decide at some point that you want to be a girl again, well, even if you can have children, you're not going to be able to feed them in the way that human females are meant to feed their children. Children should not be making those decisions, but put the power in the parents' hands and give them a little bit of social pressures, some peer pressures from the government, state and federal. And, well, parents cave. It's ridiculous. You will never, ever convince me that anyone under the age of 18 should be making these decisions. They're not capable of making these decisions. All right, and then I guess last and the least, I guess, is we're trying to get the video going. And this is what happens. I have a green screen. All right. So, and it's set up for green screen and it's actually behaving right now. So I gave the lab a lighting upgrade just so I could run the green screen. And lo and behold, it's actually functioning. Let's see if we can change it to keep it functional. No, because I cannot get to my settings that I need to get, or can I? Yes, maybe I can. All right, can we go to this one? Get a little fuzzy around the headphones. I'd rock this one all the time, but when I started the show, it was doing all this. It was doing the whole thing. Like, it was being all kinds of stupid crazy. And there's the Pastor Rapture show. Not quite a rod from God, but a big old stone from above. That'll do ya. That'll make for a really bad day for you. Oh, yeah. So we've got to get this whole video camera thing figured out because, we're going to put up new decorations and we'll see about getting the lab decorated a little differently than what you've seen before because this new camera has a stupid wide lens on it. Stupid wide. It shows the whole room. It's stupid. But anyway, folks, I'm back to one. So thanks for hanging out with me. So, all right. I have no outro because I'm still rocking a free account here, and I haven't put one together yet. But anyway, I am your Pastor Rapture. Thanks for hanging out with me, subscribing to me, and going ahead and hit that like button for me, and especially for hanging out with me and letting me rap at you. Have a great rest of your day, night, folks.